Good evening, folks. Morning, afternoon, whatever time it is when you're watching. Sheepdog Smokey here, as always, and as you can tell, I've been thinking about a certain topic recently. The big reason for that is a couple of things that have been in the news pretty repeatedly, and one I just heard today. The first is Bill Gates and his push for a vaccine to be mandatory, and his statement that he wants digital certificates that will basically allow anyone to find out if you've ever had COVID-19, asymptomatic or not, if you were ever symptomatic, and if you have recovered. Dr. Fauci is pushing for everyone to be given a license, basically, a paper that states whether or not you were ever infected, whether you were symptomatic, if you were treated, how, and if you recovered. Denmark has gone 8 steps further. They have announced apparently, and I have not found a source for this, I am looking, so this is still apparent to me, that they are going to go ahead with testing on a vaccine on their citizens that no one can refuse. We have re-entered 1939 Germany, and we are all Jews. Bill Gates wants to give us the 21st century equivalent of a tattoo on the inside of our arm. It was a great little cartoon I saw earlier where someone was talking about that, and the gentleman rolled over his arm and said, "I've been there." Fauci is becoming the Gestapo. Papers, please. Papers, please. And Denmark is becoming the Joseph Mengele-esque, we are just going to do whatever the hell we want country. And it's all very frightening, or it should be. So before I go any further, please remember, as always, to subscribe, turn on notifications so that you're aware of all new content as it posts. And with that said, let's go on and dive in. When I discuss Bradbury, Orwell, and Huxley, along with other cautionary tales, the core premise of the book is that society is utterly and completely under the control of a very small group of people. In 1984, it is Big Brother, and people just vanish for dissent. In Animal Farm, it's the pigs, who ultimately decide they are more equal than others. In Brave New World, it is the social elite who get to break all the rules, and no one cares because they're drugged out of their gourd. And in Fahrenheit 451, it is the fire department and their echelons of command, where information is rigorously controlled, and anyone reading anything at all is killed. Or, if not killed, then they are exiled from society. We are getting people today that are openly calling for this kind of thing. I want someone to ask Bill Gates, what if someone refuses to have this digital certificate? Ask Fauci, what if someone refuses to carry those papers? They will, of course, at first prevaricate and avoid the question. But if pressed, they will most likely say, well, they won't be able to go into any stores or any public buildings, and they won't be able to have a job, so basically they will be exiled from society. Those in Denmark, they're simply going to be jailed, held down, and tested on. This should frighten the ever-loving daylights out of anyone and everyone on this planet, liberal or conservative or centrist, because we are literally hearing people who are outside of society by their own work to either be so rich they can pay any fine they want, Bill Gates, or they've worked with the government so long, Fauci, or they just are the government, Denmark, that they don't see anything wrong with basically telling people, bow to us, we are your gods. And the biggest part of the problem with this are the sycophantical supporters on social media. The ones screaming, yes, we need this, yes, I don't want to get infected, I want to know who has been. Android and Apple have already announced they will be releasing software to help track the virus. Why this virus? Why not SARS, MERS, West Nile, Ebola, influenza? Why not any medical condition? Because this one has finally allowed the government to use it to basically subjugate the country and the world. And they're pushing for this. The day Apple basically makes it to where I cannot avoid that kind of software, this goes into a fire. I don't even trust it being returned. It will be destroyed utterly. Whatever survives the fire, crushed. I will probably not be able to get a cell phone at that point. More than likely, I will be deemed a dissident and either arrested or killed. And we have people who actually support this. I will be the first to admit, I sit at work. I look at this, probably more than I should. I do use it for some testing, because I will get clients who need testing on an iOS phone or an iOS tablet. We have those at work as well that are company owned and have only company data. But I will not willingly submit to basically having a tracking device in my possession at any time. I'm probably past that point now, but they've not gotten to the point where they've said your data will be used against your will to track you and control you. I don't use the predictive shopping. For crying out loud, the conversations we have at work, I've looked down and seen ads for food that I cannot eat because I have a stomach ulcer. And while I would love to be able to go out for Thai or Cajun, unfortunately it disagrees with me. But my phone hears other people talking about it, and I start getting ads. I have seen ads come up because ads when I'm watching television play. It is something I actively ignore. I don't use them. I don't click on them so that cookies aren't set on my phone. But that's getting harder and harder to avoid because it will just be overwhelming, the number of ads you see for something that eventually you just decide, you know what, I'm not going to go search, this product looks good. When I was talking to friends about looking to put a trailer hitch on my new truck, I was getting ads for U-Haul, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Nissan, all of the dealerships. I was getting ads for other auto shops. I was getting ads from countless install-it-yourself options. I ignored all of them, and I went and I searched. I found a company that had a price I could afford that would ship to me. I never had gotten an ad for that company, but now I get them all the time. Another great example of being monitored and being basically fed what you've been consuming is the infamous YouTube loop. Right now, being that I am working from home, and as I've said, I'm cooking more, eating my leftovers the next day so that food doesn't go to waste. I'm not buying prepackaged things, I'm buying ingredients. I've been watching a lot of cooking shows, binging with Babish, Sorted, Gordon Ramsay, Cowboy Kent. And I'll notice when I watch 2 or 3 of one channel in a row, the entire feed on the right-hand side, or the entire coming up next feed, is either that one channel, or they start seeing a trend to what recipes I like to watch. I don't like Indian food, Thai, Cajun, things like that because of the spice level. So it starts to realize, okay, let's not put those videos in, and it'll jump from a sorted food grilled cheese video to Alton Brown's grilled cheese to Gordon Ramsay's burger. You sit and watch YouTube late at night and someone in the comments will link to a music video or a flash mob, and then all of a sudden you're seeing the same thing over and over. I don't log out, as you can tell, because I am actually posting as well. I try to use my keywords and my tags so that people can find what I'm putting out, but I clear my YouTube history about every 3 days. And yes, I realize that makes it more difficult for me to find something that I've seen if I want to show it to someone, because it clears everything. But it is a bit more acceptable or tolerable to not have that history built up and YouTube deciding what I want to watch. But it's harder and harder to avoid, and that's why, getting back on topic, that's why we have people like Bill Gates or Fauci or the people running Denmark who believe it's perfectly okay to say you'll carry a digital certificate or you'll have this paper on you 24/7, or in Denmark, you will submit to medical testing. We're getting very close to a very dangerous time. If you look at points throughout history where Xerxes was a bit too much of a tyrant, people were trying to get out of Persia. Eventually there was the end of the Persian Empire. With Rome, you had the slave revolt that gave us the legend of Spartacus. With Britain, Rome left, but then you had the native Gaelic and Celtic tribes, you had Vikings coming from the north, and you had the few people who had stayed because they'd built their life on that island because of Rome. As time passed and technology advanced and we lived through the Dark Ages and survived the plague, countries and empires began to expand again. We started to see that countries being ruled didn't like it. In 1775, the colonies told England a firm no to being disarmed. Later, we would see Hong Kong freed from British rule. Taiwan is still trying to get the world to recognize that they are not a part of China. What is this going to lead to? What will the world look like not so long after these tyrants actually announce, you have no vote, you have no voice, you will line up silently, march into that building, and if you exit or not is up to us. It won't be pretty while it's happening, and I really can't say what will be the end result. Because sadly this time, as the sheep are marched off to the slaughterhouse to be judged, we have too many of the sheep who will actively try to assault and kill those trying to protect them. I just don't know. And I really hope this does not get to that point. I really hope so. I've said enough, though. I've ranted long enough. So it's your turn. Let me know what you think. As always, be civil in the comments. As I've said before, Gates, Fauci, Danish leaders, I don't expect them to even know that my channel exists. If they show up, I will be bluntly honest without going to the vulgar. The rest of us are actually capable of logic and acting as adults, so please do so. We can disagree civilly. We do not need to resort to childish insults and name-calling and attacks. Until next time, please remember to like and share the video to widen the conversation and to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you are able to be notified and able to be aware of all new content as it posts. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. Stay home right now if you can. If you can't stay home, be careful. And everyone have a wonderful day.